absolutely not satisfied with your response.
Well, that wasn't the question. The question was, you understand what our process is.
I do, but it doesn't seem like you're following it.
That's a separate issue.
Is it? So how are we supposed to have a conversation if you're not going to be truly impartial with the process?
Well, I will tell you that I am impartial, and this is your opportunity to tell me why you disagree with the Law Society, whatever else you want to tell me, and you've got an hour.
Okay, well, let's start. Who was your colleague last time? Is he here today, or?
I believe it's Mr. Taylor, who's here today.
Okay, and I don't see him.
Mr. Taylor's my counsel.
He's your counsel?
Yes, he is.
Okay, so we need to bring up a couple things first before we move forward. Okay?
Go ahead, this is your time.
Yeah, okay. Well, so there's a lot of information here. When I got your response, and you're siding with Astrid Merkridge, we identified that Miss Merkridge lied about documentation she had in her possession. Your colleague identified that those documents were there, and she wrote down, committing perjury, stating she did not review about those documents with the Law Society appeal, saying, she didn't review them. Okay? You gave that lawyer, Miss Fava, a little slap on the wrist, who's been a lawyer for 40 years, and she should know better that she cannot quit on a client in a crucial time. And you are in support of not only Miss Merkridge's decision, but you're also in support of Miss Alice Fava's conduct, which is staggering to me and is staggering to a lot of Canadians. And I'm just curious, is there any information on how many complaints are reviewed before you and actually how many are sent back to the Law Society? Is that data available?
I do an annual report every year.
Okay.
Which includes those statistics. You can find it on the Law Society's website.
Okay. So, I'm looking here, The Complaints Resolution Commission of the Law Society of Ontario is an independent position designed to ensure fairness and transparency in the Law Society's handling of complaints against lawyers and paralegals. The current commissioner is yourself. Right. So this lawyer, Alice Fava, has blatantly disregarded the rules. And so has Miss Merkridge. And you're in support of that. Okay? So what I'm about to get into with Mr. John David Ekpenyong is 3 times as worse. And I am working on a story on my dealings with the Law Society and my dealings with yourself, the Complaints Resolution Commissioner. I am completely dissatisfied with how you and your colleague handled that complaint. And when I asked for an update, you provided a response within hours, and it completely ignored the facts. So I don't even know where to begin, considering your correspondence already and how you and your colleague have already handled the previous complaint. Okay? Ari Cashton sat on a complaint for 3 years. 3 years is unacceptable. Okay? His expertise is a forensic accountant and fraud investigator. John David Ekpenyong has submitted well over $300,000 in fraudulent bills. Included in my complaint, a $160,000 fraudulent bill of cost for hours never worked and money never exchanged hands. In that complaint, and sorry, I'm a little upset because you know what? It's we're going through this again, and I apologize. But I've already seen how you handle complaints, and I'm not happy with it. And to be honest, I don't really have much confidence that this is going to be any different. So I'm a little frustrated right now. Ari Cashton sat on that complaint for 3 years, just like Astrid Merkridge, he didn't communicate with me properly. I had to call him on private numbers and friends' phone numbers to even get through to him. On his on his correspondence, he mentions nothing of the $160,000 fraudulent bill. He mentions nothing about the affidavit that was commissioned and unsigned, where he admitted his client only paid $7,000. And this is a forensic accountant fraud investigator who refused to simply apply the rules. I am on the rules of professional conduct. And like I said, I'm doing a story on this, on my dealings with the Law Society and how these complaints are handled and these type of appeals. I'm already well past a dozen violations of this Law Society rules of professional conduct with Mr. Ekpenyong. Mr. Ekpenyong has commissioned 7 documents, including applications, without his client's signature. This was brought to Ari's attention as well, and he did not respond to that. Another major issue is that John David Ekpenyong has a tendency of lying to several judges, which I've all included, transcripts and evidence. And Ari, again, did not comment on that. I want to make this very clear. I was unlawfully dragged to family court on a restraining order application that was never signed, with a woman I was never married with, had children with, or lived with. And I believe you're kind of familiar with the family law. I had absolutely no business ever being in family court. And I believe I'm dealing with Canada's most corrupted family court case in Canadian history. And to be blunt, everyone's too chicken shit to talk about the judge's endorsement and challenge it. I've been before every single court where when I went to the Court of Appeal, I had a judge accept John David Ekpenyong's 2-page factum and 6-page affidavit 8 minutes before the hearing, the day of, unsigned, uncommissioned, and I lost that appeal. So there seems to be a clear pattern that complaints do not work. And that correspondence that I got from you last kind of put the cherry on top. So I'm actually, I filed. So the Law Society ignored the evidence. This lawyer has lied to several judges. They did not comment. The new complaints, I filed a new complaint of this lawyer, and I'm not sure what materials you have in front of you, but this lawyer has been sending me unhinged, psychotic, harassing, threatening, stalking emails, which is a clear violation of abusing his license in the Law Society. Ari Cashton said in his comment that I did not submit any of these emails. Well, he didn't have the decency to say, hey, before I make my decision, you might want to send those emails. No, he jumped to conclusion and completely disregarded all the merit in my complaint. I'm not sure if you're aware of, but John David Ekpenyong is currently being prosecuted by the Law Society Tribunal. My girlfriend has filed a complaint against this lawyer. It got dismissed. A lady named Sharon Finn is a victim of John David Ekpenyong. She filed a complaint. That was dismissed. My complaint was dismissed. Why is the Law Society protecting a lawyer who is blatantly abusing his license, harassing, stalking, and threatening people? Have you seen the emails? By any chance? I'm sorry.
These emails that you did provide to the Law Society?
Correct.
Or are you did provide them even though you're complaining the investigator didn't have them or closed it without having them?
So I filed several new complaints with this unethical, abusive behavior, and the Law Society just continues to marriage these new complaints with this appeal, which I don't know why they're doing that. It is clearly a very broken complaint system with the Law Society. So the Law Society is not giving me a fair chance to file a new complaint with these abusive emails, which I put publicly.
I'll kind of stop you for a second. So if you have emails now that the Law Society won't allow you to file, you can provide them to us through the complaints review email that you've been using. Okay? So after we're done today, you can provide those to us.
So So there's that. Chapter 5, relationship to the administration of justice. 5.12b, a lawyer shall not b, knowingly assist or permit the client to do anything that the lawyer considers to be dishonest or dishonorable. When you admit on an affidavit that your client paid a block fee of $7,000, and then I lose a 2-day rigged family court trial, with a woman I was never married with, had children, or lived with, you submit a bill of $160,000, that is straight up fraud. Ari Cashton, Christopher White collectively refused to do an assessment on this lawyer because they are protecting this lawyer. This lawyer has commissioned 7 documents without his client's signature. That is abusing his license. I will put my life savings on that this lawyer got his license out of a cereal box, and he most probably got one of those courses where you get the answers. He does not know what he is doing. 5.12e, knowingly attempt to deceive a tribunal or influence the course of justice by offering false evidence, misstating facts or law, presenting or a deceitful affidavit, or otherwise any fraud, crime, or illegal conduct. This lawyer has this lawyer has made my life a living hell. And after I lost that 2-day rig trial, I was ordered to pay $60,000 in court costs, okay? Without any communication. This lawyer started a garnishment application 72 days after. That was September 6, 2024. I have 25 emails begging and pleading to accept payment and unfreeze my bank accounts. Still, to this day, my bank accounts are frozen. My credit score has plummeted 200 points. I'm on the verge of bankruptcy and homelessness. I was a licensed electrician working out in Windsor, earning $23,000 a month before deductions. Now I have zero income. I have a serious injury from an unrelated incident that is hurting me to work. And this lawyer has submitted fraudulent documents. This lawyer and his client collectively have committed perjury, have submitted fraudulent documents. I am demanding that a full assessment is done. This lawyer has submitted over $300,000 in fraudulent court costs. This lawyer is harassing me nonstop. He's dragged me through family court, garnishment family court. He dragged me through Superior Court for a defamation case for 2 small claim cases. He has submitted almost $350,000 in fraudulent bills. He is refusing to accept payment plan. I have 60 people behind me who are in full support of the biased and broken complaint service with the Law Society. Complaints do not work. We all know what the CEO did with that salary she gave herself, and it's a perfect example. The Law Society is a broken and biased society, and they are protecting lawyers like John David Ekpenyong to get away with unethical and criminal activity. And I am very upset. And Ari Cashton refused to release that complaint.
You indicated you know that Mr. Ekpenyong is in discipline. What is it that you want the Law Society to do?
Revoke his license.
In your particular case? In
my particular case, he submitted fraudulent documents. When a lawyer admits on an affidavit his client only paid $7,000... Sorry, are you still there?
Sorry, I think you froze for a minute.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
I can, yes.
Okay. Continue.
Your screen's frozen, but... Okay, there we go.
I can hear you, though, so... yourself.
Well, what do you do, right? When a lawyer takes an oath that they are going to abide by these rules and they don't, and a lawyer commissions 7 documents without his client's signature, and the Law Society does nothing about that, and you got Ari Cashton, like I said, he's got all these fraud expertise, sits on the complaints for 3 years and doesn't properly answer to these things. The best remedy is going public and sharing every bit of detail with the public. And I have a substantial amount of supporters that have the same issue with the Law Society. So just because this lawyer is in a disciplinary proceeding, why are all these complaints getting dismissed? They shouldn't be. I want an assessment done. I want to submit these $350,000 court costs. And the Law Society should force this lawyer to force what his client actually paid. This lawyer has my bank accounts frozen for almost 13 months. He sends me psychotic, harassing, threatening, stalking emails. And nobody seems to care. The police, the Waterloo Region Police don't want to get involved. The Halton Region Police don't want to get involved. These judges don't want to get involved. The Law Society doesn't want to get involved. The Minister of Justice doesn't want to get involved. The Attorney General doesn't want to get involved. So now I am here with the Complaints Resolution Commissioner, and this is going to be the last straw, to be honest. I'm going to be frank. I'm not... We had this conversation before. I thought it went well. Your colleague, Mr. Taylor there, confirmed that Astrid Merkridge had the legal aid appeal materials before her, and she lied on her report stating she did not. She is in support of a lawyer who is not abiding by the rules. Alice Fava should have been disciplined. And for some reason, you gave me a bit of confidence that that was going to be done. And when I got your response, the confidence was gone. Miss Alice Fava failed to communicate. She caused unreasonable delays. It was an improper withdrawal. She was dishonest with the Law Society about a fallout. She was rude. She was unprofessional. And she should know better. But there's people like yourself and Miss Merkridge that are protecting her from her misconduct. A lawyer in any good standing should know the rules and conduct. And when they have people like yourself and Miss Merkridge protecting them, the public does not have confidence in these type of proceedings. Mr. Ekpenyong needs to be disciplined. He needs to provide an assessment. He has lied to the courts. I have just provided relationship to the administration of justice. He has lied to the courts about what his client has paid. And this is crap. This is absolutely crap that I've had to go through this abuse with this lawyer. And now he might be getting out of this disciplinary action because of a legislation issue. So what is he going to do? He's going to keep harassing me? I'm at a breaking point. I'm at a breaking point, and I need you to step in, and I need you to identify these issues with the Law Society. And they are being biased. It is a broken complaint system, and there's elements of corruption. The Law Society failed to apply these rules. Ari Cashton, if you look at his complaint, he never answered to the fraudulent bills of cost. Okay? He missed the rules. Like, rules of conduct. Where is it? Chapter 3, is it like there's just so much, like, he's lied. I'm going to be combing through this whole thing, and I'm going to be doing a full video on every single rule that this lawyer has violated. He needs to lose his license. And
you said earlier that he might get out of discipline because of a legislation issue. What did you mean by that?
Well, there's something with the legislation issue that apparently his misconduct was before the new legislation. And so with the Law Societies, he's ripped off a client. He's misused about $50,000 from a client. I'm just trying to look at because I have an email from the tribunal. Tribunals. So I have an email from Malcolm Mercer, and appearance summary. This is a first PMC period. Disclosure has been provided and a request to admit has been served and responded to. It appears that there is an issue with respect to whether the Legal Aid Services Act 2020 applies to the conduct in question. Mr. Skinner will be addressing this question with Legal Aid Ontario. There may be issues of disclosing arising out of this legislative issue. This lawyer is practically getting away with murder. And the Law Society has allowed this for many, many years. And I don't know, I don't know what to expect from this, because you're a good listener. Your demeanor seems like you're going to help. But when I read your response about Miss Fava, it was the opposite of what I thought. There was going to be some disciplinary actions, because we all know, and you know yourself, you're a lawyer, you cannot quit on a client at a crucial stage of the case. That lawyer put her name on a legal aid certificate to review my disclosure. She didn't need to do that. A lawyer for 40 years did not need to do that. So there's obviously issues with the Law Society, with lawyers not abiding by the rules. There's obviously issues with the Law Society not taking complaints seriously, not following the rules. And now I've got another seem to be ongoing pattern with Ari Cashin and John David Ekpenyong. And there needs to be an assessment. You cannot be a lawyer and raise your hand and say you're going to be honest and submit $350,000 in court bills that your client never paid. So if the complaints resolution commissioner is going to be in support of this conduct, then the best remedy is going to be going public about how this is going to be handled. And I'm not trying to say this in a threatening manner. It's the best remedy, because at this point I've lost confidence that you and your colleague are going to be handling this complaint the way it should be handled, and it needs to be handled. I thought for sure when Mr. Taylor there confirmed that the documents that Miss Merkridge said she did not review were in fact in her possession, that is perjury. And then you backed her up and said she did a good thing. So there's an issue already right there. You are backing up a lawyer in the Law Society handling complaints that's committed perjury.
Okay, you said you were going to provide us with the emails that the Law Society wouldn't take, right?
Correct. They've bundled it. I have more. He's been sending me more lately. He will not leave me alone. I will send those, but he's harassing, he's threatening, he's hired a private investigator. The craziest thing is this: he won't accept payment plan. He's sitting there gaslighting and playing stupid about this paying money. He submitted fraudulent documents. I had a judge, Kitchener's local senior judge, who is at the center of attention of a potential Canada's most corrupted family court case in Canadian history. And why he backed up this lawyer, it's about to be fully investigated by some major news media outlets. And it's sickening what I'm going through, the abuse that I've endured. I got dragged to family court with a woman I was never married with, had children, or lived with. I was dragged to family court on a restraining order application never signed. I was forced to go to a trial without a trial schedule endorsement form ever filled out, served, and filed. In fact, the judge did and blocked out 2 pages of transcripts. I was given a trial record 8 days before the trial and not 20, and I was given less than 24 hours notice for a trial. And when I brought this up to the judge's attention, he said, we're here now, we're going to deal with it. What's the point of having rules and laws if judges, court staff, parties aren't going to abide by it? What's the point of having rules and laws with the Law Society if lawyers like Astrid Murkridge, Ari Cashton, and John David Ekpenyong are not going to abide by them? There's no point of having rules and laws. So that's why it is your duty to enforce this. They are not abiding by it. If, this is wrong. This is absolutely wrong. I have those emails, and I have $350,000 of these court costs requesting when they admitted to paying $29,000 in total. I want the loss. I would like you personally to have this lawyer provide an assessment. Because I'm a licensed electrician in the union. I'm on the verge of being bankrupt and homeless because of this piece of garbage lawyer, John David Ekpenyong, who is abusing his license. Like I said, his credentials are need to be investigated. I guaranteed he paid for the answers in one of these courses. He has these templates. And I wouldn't be surprised if he paid for his citizenship. He is a horrible human being, and he is a disgraceful lawyer who needs to be disciplined. And not to have forensic investigators like Ari Cashton sit on complaints for 3 years and just to support him. I'm not happy about this. Miss Murkridge, Miss Alice Fava put me in a serious financial hardship. Okay, I almost lost a trial that I didn't even do. I had to come up with $25,000, and I should have never had to do that with this lawyer's conduct. And the Law Society allowed it, and you did not, and you supported the Law Society. So I'm not feeling confident about how this complaint is going to be handled, to be honest. And why? What? And sorry, one other question is why
go ahead.
Why aren't these meetings public?
Well, they're not public because they often involve very private information, including in some cases solicitor-client privileged information. They're also supposed to be an informal opportunity for the complainant to express what their concerns are.
Okay, so in my situation, that does not apply. This is not a privilege to a client-solicitor relationship. So this meeting should be public. It should have been public. And it should be available.
Legislation doesn't require that, and it's not provided for, and these are supposed to be, as I said, an informal meeting.
Supposed to be. So is it against the law to record these meetings?
It's not against the law. I can tell you that we request that you not, because we like to maintain the formal or the informal aspect of it.
Okay.
And I believe we expressed that to you in writing before today as well. So that's what our position on it is. Okay.
All right. Well, we'll see how the complaint's handled, and I guess we'll go from there. I'll send in those emails.
Do you have more that you wanted to tell us, or I know you're reading some notes. So.
Is there more? That's I hope I covered all the issues here with this Ari Cashton, this John David Ekpenyong, these fraudulent bills, the Chapter 5 relation to the administration of justice, how this lawyer has blatantly lied to the courts. They've submitted fraudulent documents. This whole response from Ari Cashton was a joke. And then he refused to take it out of the portal. And Ari also refused to give me a copy of the letter. I had to copy and paste it. So what does that tell you? And it's incredible that the Law Society is protecting this lawyer and his actions that are transparently in breach of the rules and oath of the Law Society. So Yeah, really, I'm on the verge of being bankrupt and homeless because of these fraudulent bills. So are you going to force this lawyer to do an assessment and provide what his client has actually paid him?
All that I can do is, if I decide that the decision was unreasonable, is ask the Law Society to take further action. I have no ability to force a lawyer to do anything. All I can do is ask the Law Society to take further action.
Okay. Well, I have no confidence in the Law Society because you can already see how they handle complaints. And I even I have a recorded phone call with John David Ekpenyong where he admitted that his client never paid $160,000. And in fact, he admitted his client only paid $7,000. And Ari Cashton and Christopher White both heard that audio. So we've got some major corruption issues with the Law Society. It doesn't work. Lawyers handling complaints against lawyers do not work. Police handling complaints against police do not work. Judges, if the complaints ever get past those screening officers, judges handling complaints against judges don't work. So this is the problem right here. And we've seen that with Miss Astrid Merkridge and Miss Alice Fava. They do not work. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping I covered everything. I know I got an hour here, but I think it's...
You've been very clear. Mr. Taylor and I can confirm that we understand what your concerns are.
Okay.
And if you will forward those emails to us, I will assure you that we will read through them. Okay?
Okay.
And that you'll hear from us in about 8 weeks or so.
Okay. Well, it's not just the emails. It's the $300,000 fraudulent bills. The lawyers got my bank accounts frozen for 13 months. This is inhumane. And Ari Cashin is aware of that. So that is another live issue. And how is that going to be addressed?
What, in terms of
the fraudulent bills?
Proceedings?
The fraudulent bills that yes.
That's an issue for the courts to determine because it's a court order that he's enforcing by way of garnishment. So that's an issue for you to deal with in court. Yeah.
So if he admits on an affidavit that his client only paid $7,000, and then they submit a bill of $160,000, that is submitting a fraudulent document. That is not complying with the rules of the Law Society.
But this is what resulted in the costs order against you.
Correct. Right? Yeah, because I went against this corrupted judge. Yeah.
So that's an issue for the court, though. That the Law Society can't do anything. The Law Society can't change a court decision.
No.
And the Law Society can't interfere.
I'm not asking that. I'm not asking that. A lawyer cannot profit off the courts. A lawyer cannot admit that they've paid $7,000, client paid $7,000, and then ask for $160. What rule would that be in this code of conduct? Do you know by any chance off top, or is it something we'd have to look into?
If a lawyer's lying or acting in a fraudulent manner, that's under integrity. Okay.
So then that needs to be... So there's obviously integrity issues, and I see that Ari's mentioned that. Ari's brought up this integrity, I think, but he's never mentioned about these costs. This is a live issue that needs to be addressed one way or the other. So I'm asking that this to be looked into. This lawyer has submitted a fraudulent bill of cost. I'm asking that the Law Society not interfere, but request for a assessment.
Okay, and as I told you, the most I can do is if I decide the decision is unreasonable is ask the Law Society to take further action. It would be up to the Law Society as to what they did.
Okay. Well, it's obvious, like with dealing with Miss Fava, there's disregard for the rules. It's obviously dealing with John David Ekpenyong, there's disregard for the rules, and there needs to be accountability. And the accountability needs...
You've made that very clear.
Okay, well, I made a lot of things very clear last time, and reading your correspondence doesn't align with what I made very clear last time. So I'm a little bit concerned on how this is going to be handled.
Well, all I can assure you is if you send us those emails, we will look at them. And anything else you want to send that you don't think was properly considered, you can feel free to send that too.
And I will not appreciate it if I'm asked to bring this up to the police, because all of this, I've done that and they refuse to investigate. It's another story I'm working on with another major media company. It's harassment. And what's that? What would harassing, stalking, threatening? What would that? Where would that fall under with the?
There is a specific rule about harassment.
Okay. I remember I saw that at some harassment.
Mr. Taylor, do you know the exact number?
Not off the top of my head.
I don't know off the top of my head. There is a specific rule about harassment, though.
Okay. And sorry. Okay. Is it? Okay. Just I'm a little shocked, to be honest, because the last time we had this meeting, it was confirmed about these documents that Miss Merkich said that she didn't have, and nothing was done about that. You have a lawyer in the Law Society who's been caught committing perjury. And by you supporting her, it covers it up. Now I have to do a full investigation into all the complaints and your correspondence if it goes that far, And it's just, I'm not happy about what Ekpenyong's gotten away with.
I understand that, and you've been very clear.
Okay.
Okay? Is there anything else?
No, I don't know. Is there anything else you would like to know?
I don't have any questions for you. I will, as I said, I want to see the emails that you've discussed, and
Okay.
I will look at them.
All right, fair enough.
Okay?
I'll send that.
Okay, so thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate it, and we'll look forward to getting those emails from you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.